Hi everyone, Mahinder from Endeavour Education and Migration Services again today, and in today's video we are going to look at the overview of South Australia as well as other states 491 and 190 criteria for the recently concluded financial year, which was 2024 and 2025. Why this video is important for you if you are seeking subclass 491 and 190 from different states in the coming financial year, which is 2025-2026. This video is going to give you a bit of idea how the program was in the previous years, what were their criteria and things like that, and what were the main things in the state nomination applications. So if you guys have not so far hit that follow button or hasn't hit that like and subscribe button, please do it now, and please share this video with your friends. It may be helpful to them. Let's get started. So I have written the topic of the video is overview of 491 and 190, and we are also going to touch on what to expect in the coming financial year. I'm going to discuss this one by one. So you can see I have given the names of the states here. And on the left hand side here, you can see whether ROI is required, whether they have their own occupation list, what are the residency requirements, work experience requirements, what different streams they had, and were they allowing ROIs from other states or not. And I have also written whether that state was open for offshore or not, and if there was any other information that you need to know. So first start with South Australia, as we are in South Australia. So in South Australia, obviously we have a ROI system, and in South Australia they have their own occupation list this financial year, and I think more or less the requirements does not change a lot from financial year to financial year. They tweak it a little bit, but they more or less the way they take state nomination applications more or less stays same. So they have ROI system this financial year. Hopefully it is going to continue next financial year as well, especially if the number of applications they are receiving is surpassing the number of allocations they receive. And occupation list, they do have their own occupation list in South Australia, but you don't have a published list. You have to go to their website and then specifically enter that occupation and see what occupation, with that occupation, what visa subclasses you can nominate and what streams that occupation is eligible for. Okay. Similarly, residency requirements. South Australia had 3 streams in this financial year. We had working in South Australia stream that required at least 12 months of work experience. We had a South Australian graduate stream that required at least 6 months of work experience. Then we had outer regional stream in which there was a requirement of 9 months of work experience in outer regional South Australia. So hopefully those streams are going to continue. They may tweak it a little bit, but we don't know unless they publish their new criteria for new financial year. Now, work experience requirements, I think I've already discussed. Obviously, with the work experience requirement, you also have residency requirement as well. And there will be multiple other requirements that would be published on their website. Streams we have discussed. Does South Australia allow EYs from other states? No. So South Australia only takes applications or ROIs from people who are currently located in South Australia or offshore. So they don't allow interstate ROIs. And do they do offshore? Yes, certain occupations are open for offshore, but not every occupation is open from offshore. Let's talk about Victoria now. So Victoria, again, we had ROI system in Victoria, and Victoria does have their own priority sectors or areas. They generally do not give a list of occupations. So they have certain sectors they mention on their website that these sectors would be preferred. So they also do not post like a list of occupations, but they post the priority areas. Do they have a residency requirement? In Victoria, there is no residency requirement. So even if you move to Victoria today, if the ROI is open, you are able to do ROI. So there is no residency requirement, and this is of a lot of interest to a lot of people who may find a full-time job in Victoria. If they have high points, then things may click for you. Now, work experience requirement, again, Victoria does not have, so I would say residency requirement no, and occupation list no as such. Work experience requirement in Victoria, as such there is no requirement. So you could do ROI in 2024-2025 even without any work experience. But obviously having relevant job in the has better prospect for getting invitation as compared to someone who doesn't have job. Then let's talk about the streams. In Victoria, we do not have any streams as such. Now, do they allow interstate? No, they don't. So you can only do EOI in Victoria or ROI in Victoria if you are living in Victoria or offshore. So offshore is fine. All right, now let's look at Tasmania. So a lot of people moved to Tasmania, and many of them, they got their 190s and 491s, but many of them didn't. Okay, so very, very important to understand. In Tasmania, is there ROI system? Yes, they do have ROI system. Do they have specific occupation list? Yes, they do have specific occupation list. Are there any residency requirements? Yes, either 3 months or 6 months, and they do have residency requirements. Another thing with Tasmania is if your spouse is not living in Tasmania, they really take it very, very seriously. So if you are applying for Tasmanian nomination, then you must want to make sure that if you are moving, make sure that your spouse is also moving with you if you're targeting Tasmania 491 190. Okay, and work experience requirements, yes, they do have work experience requirement, either 6 months or 3 months, and these might change a little bit in the next financial year. And then we talk about stream. They do have many different streams, I think 5 or 6 different streams, and they also have that the pass system. So you have gold pass, you have green pass, and you orange pass. So if you have gold pass, you're going to get invited. If you have orange, that means you are in the queue. If you have green pass, that means you can lodge the application. So there are different pass system, and they do update those requirements depending on how their program is running. And interstates, they don't allow interstate EOIs. Offshore, in certain occupations, you can do offshore stream as well in Tasmania. We are going to move on to New South Wales now. Very, very big state, and obviously they have generally big quota as well as compared to other states. In New South Wales, specifically 491 is of a lot of interest for a lot of people, because 190 is purely on the basis of your profile, number of points, your relevant job, but 491 is something that all of you need to understand. So in New South Wales for 491, we had 3 pathways. We have pathway 1, we had pathway 2, and pathway 3. So pathway 1 was direct state nomination application, and for that you were required to work with the New South Wales regional employer for at least 6 months, and you could do, and you must have been working at a minimum Tismet salary, and you could do 491 application directly. So that closed in February because all the seats were taken there. Pathway 2 was invitation based, so New South Wales Investment must invite you if you before lodging your Pathway 2 application. And Pathway 3 was also again invited, but now from this year they have announced that Pathway 3 will be eligible for making on the direct state nomination applications in the coming financial year. So really, really good news. When we talk about 190 in New South Wales, it's all based on your employment, your number of points, and obviously your occupation. They do have a 4-year of plan. They have published on their website that they have certain sectors in high priority. One of those sectors is construction. So New South Wales is going to be big in construction in coming few years. So if you are in New South Wales, think about trade. Now, I have explained about the ROI system. In New South Wales, there is no ROI as such. Okay, and occupation list, yes, they do have their own occupation list, but again, they don't post the full ENSCO codes sometimes. They may give you priority areas and things like that, but depending upon how their program is running, depending upon their skill shortages, they may tweak the way they publish their occupation list and different occupations they require. When we talk about residency requirements, again, New South Wales does not have residency for 190, but they do have for 491, as I discussed earlier. Work experience, yes, for 491 work experience is required. And do they have different stream? They just have pathways. We call them pathways, as we have discussed. And then do they allow EOIs from other states or ROIs from other states? No, they don't. But in the recently concluded financial year, they gave invites to the people even if they were not living in regional New South Wales, even if they were living in surrounding states. They considered them for invites. I hope they continue to do that. And you could do from interstate. No, you could not do. And could you do from offshore? Yes. So from offshore, they generally invite people from offshore. Now ACT has their own system, which is known as Canberra Matrix. Now ACT is very transparent, especially when they give invites. They always publish those, that data, that what points, what occupation was invited at, and what Canberra Matrix points they had. Do they have any ROI system? Yes, that is known as Matrix system. Occupation list? Yes, they do have their own occupation list as well. They have specified ENSCO codes and things like that. Residency requirements? Yes, they do. Work experience? Yes, they do have work experience. And do we have any different stream? I think the way they take applications, yes, they do have slightly different streams, but I wouldn't call them just the streams. But main thing in Canberra is matrix. So you have to have high points in matrix, Canberra Matrix, to be eligible for 190 and 491 invitation from them. And can you do from interstate? No. Can you do from offshore? Yes, as well, only in certain occupations. Queensland only had like 600 places for 190, 600 for 491. I hope this year they win over and probably get back to maybe 3,000 or 4,000 or maybe 5,000 this year. I'm not sure, but we'll see when that those allocations come, probably next 1 to 2 or 3 weeks. So Queensland had ROI system. Yes, they started ROI system just in 2024, 2025. I hope they will continue to do the same. And occupation list, yes, they do have occupation list and their priority areas. They have experience requirements. Yes, they had either 6 months of work experience requirement and having a requirement of availability of your job for another 12 months. So those requirements were there. And we also talk about residency requirements. Yes, residency and work experience, they do have those requirements and different streams. So Queensland also have different streams. They have this small business stream that was very successful, but small business stream is specifically I would like to highlight when we talk about streams for Queensland's 491 and 190. Can you do ROI from other states? No. And then offshore, yes, in certain occupation. I think they had this not renewable, but there's energy related sector that is in their priority. Remember, all of these states, they have their website, and if you just Google 190 Queensland, generally land on the first page where you will be able to see most of that information. Once the states are open, we are going to make detailed videos state-wise. So if you guys haven't hit that follow button so far, do it now so you don't miss our future videos. Now, Northern Territory, do they have ROI system? Basically, Northern Territory, you just do state nomination directly, but they take long time to make decision on those nomination applications. So I had a case where we applied in the month of July. We received outcome after 6 months, but thankfully we got that invitation approved. But they do take a long time for processing their applications. Now, occupation list, yes, they do have onshore and offshore occupation lists for Northern Territory. Residence requirement, yes, either 12 months or 2 years residence requirement. Work experience requirements, yes, they do require people to be working in the nominated occupation. And when we talk about other states, you can't do EY from other states in Northern Territory. Can you do from offshore? Yes, you can do from offshore. But with the Northern Territory, even though people feel that if you move to Northern Territory, you're going to get invited, this is not so. So please go to their website, read their criteria, only make the decision. But yes, relatively, we do have lots of people who have been invited from Northern Territory, but you need to just go with a plan there. Now, Western Australia was of interest for lots of applicants this financial year. They had like 5,000 places, 3,000 plus 2,000. So first of all, do they have ROI system? No. So you just do expression of interest on Department of Home Affairs website and they invite you, okay? So you don't need to do ROI for Western Australia so far, right? When we talk about occupation list, do they have their own list? Yes, they have their own list, and they also have their own streams as well for different visa subclasses. We call this VASMOL 1, VASMOL 2, and there's another one. And they also invite people who are Western Australian graduates. They also invite people who are who have completed trade qualifications in Western Australia or university qualification in Western Australia. So they do have different systems. In their website, they have a checker where you can check your occupation and see what subclasses are available for your occupation and things like that. But they don't have ROI system. They do have a occupation list. Now, residence requirements. So Western Australia generally do not have residence requirements because they also accept EUIs from other states. But depending on the visa subclass you are going and which schedule you are going, Schedule 1 or Schedule 2 occupation, on the basis of that, the requirements may change. Similarly, work experience, generally they don't require work experience, but people who are currently employed, they have high chances of getting invited from Western Australia as well. And depending upon whether you're going for 190 or 491, and depending upon whether you get invited for 190 or 491, on the basis of that, you have to show them either employment contract, and certain occupations do not require employment contract. So construction is again big in Western Australia. They did invite a lot of people from other states as well. We also received a few invites in this financial year. Then we talk about other states. They can get invites from other states as well, and you can also get invited from offshore as well from Western Australia. And Western Australia is also very transparent because they also published the list of occupations and what was the highest number of points in that EUI that was selected in that particular occupation. So that is pretty good. And I think I have pretty much covered everything. Now let's see what we expect in the next financial year. Look, I don't have exact number, but if you look at the current trends, we do expect an increase of maybe 5 to 10% in number of allocations. We want more. We want them to double and triple, but this is just my expectation. I mean, I really cannot back that up from any research or any data, but just looking at the trend, it seems they may increase the quota maybe 5 or 10% more. And if you guys are looking to move to a state, please do not make that decision by discussing it with your friends. Sit with the migration agent and make a plan if you are looking to move now. Now, most people think about moving once the allocation has been given, but what happens at that time when a lot of people are making move, right? There's a lot of competition as well. So, depending upon your situation, your personal circumstances, your number of points, your occupations, you could think about even making a move now, but discuss it with a registered migration agent. If you need our assistance, you can reach out to us on the given numbers, or you can directly book appointment with us on the by visiting our website. Okay, all the best. Take care. I hope this information was helpful. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.